Hi viewers and welcome to Face to Face Live. My name is Alessandro and I will be with you for 1 hour as usual. Let me ask a question to begin with. Do you think it is easy for you to teach in a classroom? Some of you may think it is easy because it is simply about transferring the knowledge from the teachers to the students. But I think we need to manage the classroom as effectively as possible in order to get the most effective learning and teaching process to take place. And that is why there is a subject and course called classroom management, and I'm going to be discussing this particular topic as thoroughly as I can with somebody who I think is an expert at this topic. He is no one other than Sir Irfan Rifai. Hi, Sir Irfan. How are you doing, sir?
Very good. How are you?
Have a seat, sir. Okay, I'm good, sir. So everybody knows that you are a lecturer in BINUS. How many years have you been teaching in BINUS, sir, actually?
Since 2008, and that will make it like 5 years something.
Before in BINUS, where did you work?
Some more places.
Like?
I started teaching in Central Java, like into
senior high school? University?
It was a university level, 1998, before I even graduated. So that was my first time of teaching, and that especially marked. I remember that day very clearly because that especially marked the this very long journey.
So in total, how many years have you been teaching, sir?
In total, 1998, probably almost close to 20 years, like 15, perhaps 15, 16 years.
And the years, I mean, what about the preparation? I mean, how many years did you prepare to be a teacher or maybe a lecturer?
What do you mean by prepare?
Going to university, learn about it.
Okay. Yeah. I had this teacher's college education for 4.5 years. Well, I didn't finish as fast as you guys here in BINUS University. 4 years is an on-time one. I managed only 4.5 years, and it was my my time. And after 4.5 years, then I became a lecturer's assistant for a few months, and I continued teaching at schools for years, and then I jumped into higher education in 2008, and here I am now. That's a little short of my journey.
And your major at that time was English
department.
And
yes.
why did you take it, by the way, sir? Because some people think that, why English? Even if you do not take it, you can still hire a private teacher to teach you that one. So it's like, come on, why English? That's what people think.
Yeah. Well,
so justify yourself.
It's a long story. First of all, I fell in love with English.
Because of what?
Sesame Street. Do you know Sesame Street, by the way?
No.
Okay.
I pretend to know it.
Okay, that's a good thing. Because after this, I believe you will try to find Sesame Street. In 1980 something, probably the late 1980s, there was this first TV station, private TV station in Indonesia, and they broadcasted this special program for children, and it was in English. I was at that time actually a teenager.
Yeah,
and
like
then
17.
Not really, not really. So I was like 14 or 15, but I wasn't supposed to like that kind of show because it was supposed to be for children. But then, oh my God, they're so cute. The way they, Big Bird, Elmo, and their friends, and the way they were talking, and exchanging
ideas. And the show was in English.
In English, and I love singing along without my parents' knowledge. So, but then my parents sent me to this religious schools, and in which I was not exposed too much in English, and then I kept this romantic feeling to English until I graduated from high school. And by that time, because I was given the freedom to choose any major for my university degree, so then I took English. So it was like a long lost love found.
But you didn't like English before, you didn't like it?
I like it
but not so much?
In junior high. But because I was sent into this religion-based schools in which I was, I stayed in dormitory for like few years, so I didn't do much English back then. So that's why I kept it. And then as soon as I graduated from high school, oh my God, welcome back English. So
English.
That's what happened.
And when you were a university student, were you a good student? Were you a lazy student? or what? A so-so, or how?
In terms of academic performance, I don't think I'm that great. I remember a conversation with a very good student of mine that nobody is supposed to be. Not everybody is supposed to be smart. So I think I belong to that, moderate kind of student. Academically, I'm okay. I was okay. But then in terms of behavior, I think I'm quite determined. Yeah. Determined, and I was willing to learn, and then every time I made mistake, I tried to make it up.
So that's when you were in the university level. What about when you were a child, elementary school, junior high school? Were you lazy? Did you like to play a lot with your friends, or did you stay in your bedroom studying all the time, or what?
No, I love my elementary school because I played a lot. In junior high, I studied a lot. I was very popular when I was junior high.
Because of your performance?
Yes, because of my academic performance. And in my senior high, probably because,
so you probably got like first, second rank?
Always first for the 3 years in a row.
I just knew it.
Years ago. But then...
but you didn't study. You played and you got
elementary.
First rank. Wow.
Elementary. I played a lot.
How come, sir?
In junior high, I was kind of shocked by the demands and the reality that this is a different kind of school. It's a new environment, and then they demand new things. Yeah, so that's what happened. I was kind of electrified, and it changed the way I see schools.
Wow.
So that's what happened.
So schools and then university English, but when somebody takes English department, it doesn't necessarily mean that that person has to be a teacher or maybe a lecturer. They can be anybody, like an interpreter, translator, or maybe a host, or anybody that they want to. But why did you want to become a teacher at that time, sir? 40%
of my friends graduating from my university, from my English department, became teacher. Only 40% of them, or probably less. This is just a rough estimation. Many of them are becoming secretaries, especially the females. And then many of them are in the media. Many of them are also in the industry that I never thought of. They become entrepreneurs in any industries they are interested in. So
why? What about you? Why teacher?
Why teacher? Personally, my first love was English. My second love was teaching.
Wow, first love was English?
Yeah.
So you combine both of them?
Yes. Well, I didn't know that I would be in love with teaching until I started teaching.
You started teaching?
Yeah, so that's why a friend of mine told me, don't try it or else you fall in love with it. So then I tried it and he was right. I fell in love with it. Yeah.
So you start teaching or you start learning teaching that made you fall in love with it?
When my lecturers were telling me this, concepts of teaching, the pedagogy, the methodology of how we should teach, of the planning thing and kind of thing, my mind was kind of wondering what it would feel like to do these things he is telling me. So and then I couldn't wait until it was time for us to get into the real classroom. And then after experiencing it by myself, then I knew how it felt.
Okay, so you fall in love in teaching. To be more specific, what part of teaching do you really like? Is it the sharing moment? Is it the making questions, or what, sir?
This is a question that a lot of my friends were accusing me. First because I used to play a lot in drama. I used to be the head of the theater group in my university. And they said, Irfan, I know why you love teaching. Why? Because you love performing. And for you, when you teach in the classroom,
you can perform.
You can perform. Your classroom is your stage.
Oh.
And I said, wait till you see. I said, and then I became to notice, I became to realize that part of what you do in the classroom is actually acting, acting.
Wow.
Part of what you do in the classroom is acting.
What do you mean by acting? Does it mean that we put on a mask or what?
No, it's a different kind of definition. Yeah. So what I mean by acting is when you come into the classroom, you as a teacher you might not always feel good. You have your own life. It can happen that in the morning you just broke up with someone you love, and then you come to the classroom.
So regardless of what we feel we need to be, nice to the
Yes,
students.
you have to be able to control yourself. That is part of this is acting. You come to the classroom not to influence other people negatively. You come to the classroom hoping that they will have this positive vibe. When you have positive vibe, then your students will.
Okay, and we will continue later, sir, after
Yes,
the break.
okay.
So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Welcome back with us on Face to Face, the only English spoken program on BINUSTV with me, Alessandro, as your host, and our special guest, Sir Irfan Rifai. Now we are going to be talking about classroom management. Now, sir, as I told everybody that my definition of classroom management is the way to manage your classroom effectively in order to make the most effective learning and process, effective learning and teaching process take place. What about you, sir? Your definition
Of an effective classroom management.
Yeah.
Well, to me, an effective classroom management is when you can make sure that the particular management you are choosing, the kind of style of managing your class, but it's ensuring that learning is happening.
Wow.
And it starts with your preparation, actually.
Preparation.
It has to come up with the idea of what would you expect students to learn in the end. So if you expect students to learn something in the end, then in order to achieve that, what would you expect? And this classroom management is supposed to be helping you, facilitate you in order to be able to achieve this objective.
So in the first year of your teaching, how long did you usually prepare your classroom management? Probably before you teach, how long did you prepare?
Well, my teaching in my first year was horrible, to be honest. Yeah.
In what way was it horrible?
In what ways? In my preparation. Yeah, because for example, I prepared A.
It happened.
And I was taught to prepare a plan B. Then I prepared plan B. And I came to the classroom with plan A and plan B. But by the time you come to the classroom, situation C came. So I didn't have plan C. I got panic, you know. But some people were good at hiding, you know, their emotions.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and
you were one of them.
I was one of them. So, so I was panic. Oh my God, what should I do? What should I do?
Stay calm.
Yeah, and stay calm. Well, but still, at the first year, it wasn't very, you know, I didn't manage it very well. Yeah, but as I said, that classroom management. How would you know that you are good at it is, you know, when you do it gradually, yeah. So you get better as you do it more often.
And the time you put into preparation is getting shorter as you are becoming a more experienced teacher.
Yes, naturally. So as you are more experienced, you get everything
in your mind.
And it you know,
sometimes.
it's implanted in every cell of your body, and then it comes naturally to you. Yeah.
And also, memorizing students' name is a part of classroom management, isn't it?
Oh yes, I think it's a very important part of, you know.
And I think you are somebody who is good at memorizing people's name. And what technique
I think so,
do you usually do, sir?
By calling them.
By calling them.
Simple as that. Yeah, by, you know,
a few times. And
and just like learning a language. If you don't use your language, simply rusty, simply gone. So what should you do? You know someone's name.
Yeah.
Call them.
And you yourself are surprised at how good you are at memorizing, no?
Not really. Not really, because I've been doing this. You know.
So you learn it on your own, sir? I mean, did somebody else teach you before?
No. It's just that. For me, knowing how important it is to memorize someone's name makes you
it's
motivated.
More personal.
Yeah, it's personal.
Because they feel appreciated. Wow, the teacher knows my name.
Exactly. So
I'm going to come to the class.
Because
he really knows my name.
Right.
Wow.
Personally, I would love somebody to call me by my name. Yeah, instead of hey you, what's your name? Yeah, instead of that kind of expression or that kind of point, you know.
Yeah, pointing.
Yeah, I would love somebody calling me by my name.
Wow.
So knowing that, then
you do the same to people.
I do the same to people.
Oh,
I do the same.
That's the point. And also, besides memorizing people's names, we also need there's such thing as sitting arrangement. There are many sitting arrangements, but I believe that you have one which is your most favorite. What it is? What is it?
It depends actually.
But the one that you do
all the time.
apply most.
Well, tell you what I apply most in the higher education is a U-shaped kind of sitting arrangement. Why? Because I demand a lot of interaction with the students, especially in the higher education, in universities. We would expect students to be more participative. Yeah, we don't want them to be just
sitting down
and listen and get sleepy and then get out of the class getting nothing. We want them to say something. What's in your mind? What's in your head? Give me a piece of it. We want to know that they are engaged with us. So that's why I this is my favorite.
U-shape.
Yeah.
So U-shape is a perfect sitting arrangement for an activity that involves interaction.
If you expect interaction. Yeah.
But what about when you're teaching a class like for the writing subject, writing course? Do you also apply U-shape or conventional? Now
the thing with teaching writing is we don't write in the classroom because we have only 100 minutes.
It's not enough. It's not
enough.
Sufficient.
Yeah, it's not sufficient. So what we do in the classroom for writing class is usually we do workshop. Hey, I have this topic.
So still U-shape works.
U-shape works in the higher education setting, in which interaction is very important.
Why doesn't it work in lower education?
Okay, the thing is, it can. I didn't say that.
But it works best.
Yeah, it works best in the setting in which you expect a lot of interaction. Now, it can work in the lower education. It can work in the elementary school, in which you expect a lot of interaction from your students.
For example?
Let's say you're going to have like, in elementary school, I used to teach in elementary school. I applied this seating arrangement because I expected them to have a kind of debate situation.
Wow.
And then they did that, and then A against B, and that's it. And that happened. It worked.
Okay. And classroom management and then lesson plan, when it doesn't work, maybe you can share us your worst scenario in teaching when lesson plan or maybe classroom management doesn't work. The worst scenario that you have ever felt.
Scenario. There were a lot of bad moments, to be honest.
But the worst one?
The worst one.
That barely goes out in your mind.
Okay. There were two, actually.
Share to us, both of them. And then.
One of them, do you know wind chime?
No, what is that, sir?
Wind chime is like a mobile, like what you put when you hang in front of the door and it blown by the wind, and it gives you like the sound. That is wind chime. So I was teaching an elementary school, grade 5, if I'm not mistaken. I was teaching science in English.
Science in English.
We were producing wind chime. Expecting students would be able to understand the wind and the wind chime and the sounds it produces and everything, right? But then I didn't prepare things well. So
because of what? Lack of time?
Lack of time and lack of anticipation of what's coming. Yeah. So when I told them, I didn't use the word wind chime at the time. I used the word mobile. It means the same. Yeah. When you
movement.
It's just like mobile phone. You know what happened?
What?
So tomorrow, everyone, please, bring the design mobile. And
nobody brought.
And I didn't give them the examples. What is mobile and everything. I assumed that everybody would know. So I was the only person bringing wind chime or mobile at the time. And what did everybody bring?
What?
Mobile phone.
Mobile phone.
So these elementary students were giving me their mobile phones. Yes, Mr. Irfan, this is our mobile phone. So I think assumption is dangerous. That is first. The second one was not that horrible, but that's okay.
So what we can learn from your story is that we need to really anticipate any possible conditions that will happen when you're teaching. That's what we can learn.
if you have to make an assumption, make sure that your assumption is based on
what reality?
And logical explanations. So you need to make sure that, hey, do the students know the meaning of certain word? Do they know that mobile has few meanings? Mobile can be an adjective. Mobile can be a thing that used to call people. Mobile is this thing in American English called as wind chime.
And when we are teaching classroom management, we also need to make sure that the students are paying attention to what we are saying. And how do you usually engage the students with the lesson? How do you make absolutely sure that they are indeed paying attention to you?
I had a conversation yesterday with another lecturer, which is interesting. And she said, Pak Irfan, I love having your
I got this, sir. We will continue later on the second.
With the word love, yeah?
Okay, so stay tuned. Hello viewers, welcome back with us on Face to Face, your favorite talk show on BINUSTV with me Alessandro as your host and Sir Irfan Rifai as our special guest. Now sir, continue with the last word, love.
And what was the question?
How do you usually engage the students with the lesson?
Okay, all right. So yes, this friend of mine was talking with me yesterday, and then she said that she told me a story about classroom management, about her style of classroom management, and I found it very interesting. And she said, Pak Irfan, I don't want to really be fussy about, every time my student is talking, then I said, hey, you listen to me, or B, hey, B, you listen to me. I don't want to be too fussy with that. So what is your style? And then she said, my style is, I found them because they are adults. They know which ones are interesting for them and which ones are not. So I think we need to look back at ourselves. Are we telling them something important or interesting to them or not? So if it is not important or interesting, I think it is becoming their rights in quotations.
Not to listen to
the teacher. But I think that is a good point of view. And I to some extent, I agree with her statement. Because as a teacher, you need to make sure that what you are telling to your students, either in lecturing style or either in any kind of style of teaching, is either interesting or important for them.
That's the point.
That's the reason.
That's why yesterday, when in our class, when everybody were talking to their friends, you said, hey, this is really important, this is really important, and you lower your voice. And that's why everybody was paying attention to you, sir. So, important and what's the other one?
Interesting.
Interesting, that's the point that we need to make students engage with the lesson, sir. What about a personal experience? What are you most irritated by? Are you most irritated by students talking to their friends or maybe sleeping or what? And how do you deal with such situations?
Yes. I think this is one of my weaknesses. I don't get irritated easily.
Wow.
I don't think that. I think that is a bad.
Is it a weakness or strength?
I think it's a weakness to me. I think it's a weakness. I don't express myself well in that kind of sense. But to do it, I have to sacrifice.
What do you sacrifice?
What do I sacrifice? I have to make sure that, hey, listen to me. For example, if somebody, to answer back to your question, what do I irritated by? What do I get irritated by? Like many people, perhaps people are irritated by people playing mobile phones while you are talking. People are talking while you are talking, or other or students are going out and in while you are talking. I think those kind of things will normally annoy lecturers or teachers. But then
But you do not feel irritated.
I do feel that,
but
but
not as much
sometimes
as,
I do not express that very well.
You keep it then.
Yes, I mean sometimes I just I just wanna the way I conveyed it is by a joke.
Joke.
Yeah, expecting that, hey, you, an adult person, be sensitive.
Implicitly stated in
Yes,
your joke.
yes,
Wow.
in a joke. Yeah, yeah. So for example, like this, I knew that somebody.
Let's say I'm talking now in the corner.
Yes.
You are teaching. Hey, how are you doing, Nate? And what are you gonna do, sir?
Yes. Alessandro.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Mars calling.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, or something like
joke.
that. It's a joke. So I mean.
I'm not hurt. I'm not. You know what? You do not offend me, and I'm
Yes.
saying this into you.
Yeah, yeah.
Nice way then.
Yeah, yeah. That's the way I just.
So
do
the
it.
joke is your way to handle such a situation.
And do it to handle my psychological,
Is
situations.
it a problem or not?
I don't know. I don't know. Let's find a psychologist and talk about it.
Okay. And many roles of a teacher. Sometimes they call a teacher as a motivator or the observer. Many roles. But what role do you want to be seen as?
Many roles.
And
Am I
what
a
role do you want to?
motivator? Yeah, I like the word motivator. I mean those roles invented by perhaps not teachers, perhaps teacher observers. Because we teachers, we don't actually put ourselves into that kind of terminologies. We are everything, and then what we are to our students is different. For example, me to you would be different perhaps than me to Gia, me to Agnes, me to someone else.
In what way?
Perhaps
different?
you will see me as a motivator. Perhaps Agnes will see me as a facilitator. Perhaps, I don't know. That's how you see us teachers.
But your preference, what would you like to be seen as?
A teacher.
Oh, a teacher. And what do you mean by before a teacher's observer?
Well, so there is also another term, yeah. As teachers, we often complain about people who make this policy on education, but they are not from education.
They're not from education, but
they are not from education, but they make policies about education, and that is annoying. Okay, and then there are also researchers who are not from education, and they talk about education, and then influence the policymakers to make a policy about education, and that's annoy us, and that's. Probably researchers is also observer, and then this observer come into the classroom, observing teachers doing things that we do, and then pretend that they know better than us, and then they put us into special group. Oh, this guy is a motivator. Oh, this guy is a facilitator. Oh, this teacher is a supporter, or something like that. Yeah. So as teachers, we don't care. We teach, we influence, we try to make our students' day better. Hopefully, futures better.
And what about your best experience in teaching, sir? Best
every day.
Moment, or every day. Every day seems bad.
Yeah, I mean, every time I had a class, on the day, I look back, and I remember what happened today. What was the best moment? What was the worst moment? Every day, there is always the best. Thing happened. A look in a student's eye. I mean, I'm not trying to dramatize it, but that's the way I feel.
And when there is a social gathering or maybe family gathering, when everybody gathers together, and they like to watch. They like to ask a question like, "What do you make? What do you mean?" Oh, I am a police. I make everything safe. Oh, I am a judge. I make everything nice. What about you? You are a teacher. Now you are a lecturer, Sir Irfan. What do you make when people ask that question to you? What do you answer?
I make presidents. I make you.
I
make those people who are earning more than me, and that is a pride. So when people are, hey, I make this millions, money. I make this. I make this. I make this. Then I make these people. And what do you make? I make these people.
You make these people.
Yeah.
Simple answer, right?
Simple answer. So
And since when did? So what about your parents? I mean, did they agree with you wanting to become a teacher when you were a child or when you were a university student?
They left everything to me.
No complaint?
No complaint. I mean, they just, unless for, sending me to this religious school. But after that, you are 18 years old now, go wherever you want. And I did go.
What about your children? Do you have some expectations to them, like you need to get this job, you need to get this job, you don't have to get this job, you must not get this job?
Then I would be, then I would be
So
totally
you have
against
two children.
the teaching principle.
One
Yes, two
daughter,
children.
one son.
One daughter, one son from one wife. Okay, yes. I would be against the educational principles. If I'm going to push what I want, with my kids. But I'm going to give them freedom.
It's up to them.
Yeah, but I'm going to guide them, seeing them the talents. Hey, with your talent, this is what you can do. But it's going to be your choice.
So how are they doing now? I mean, are they
They're
doing
great.
well?
They're doing great. They're doing great.
So first, second rank on school?
No, I choose a school a school which does not rank their students.
Oh, so no ranking?
No
then?
ranking.
How come? So how they are measured?
It doesn't have to be measured.
Oh.
Yeah, I know where my son or daughter are going. I know how progressive they are, or how they are not progressive at all. So I know their progress, and that's how I measure, and that's how I communicate with schools on what kind of elements that my children needs to develop. So and that's why I chose this school for my daughter.
And be back to classroom management, sir. I mean, what kind of difficulties do you usually encounter?
In what?
When doing classroom management, when you try to manage the classroom?
The things that always surprise us and many teachers perhaps are the context and the students. The context means the situation, the classroom and everything. So but when it is a classroom management, you don't just actually limit yourself into understanding classroom is like a few chairs, some classroom is a whiteboard and a door and some windows. No, classroom, it can be an open wide. So it is very important for us not to deal with the obstacles, is to understand the situation first, your students.
Okay, do you mind if I cut here, sir?
Now?
No, okay,
Yes,
so stay tuned.
Okay.
Welcome back with us on Face to Face, your favorite talk show on BINUSTV, and this is the last segment with Sir Irfan. Now, sir, continue, sir. What was the question before? Let me check.
Okay. What was it?
I don't know. What was the question?
I think you were asking me about the difficulty,
the difficulties
in managing a classroom.
This classroom.
I think I didn't want to put it as a difficulty because anything difficult in managing your classroom can actually be tackled by your preparation, by your knowledge of the situation, by your knowledge of the students and everything. It can be difficult somehow if you cannot manage your own expectations, perhaps. So if you come to the classroom expecting to have very well equipped classroom with technology and stuff, but then when you come there's nothing there, then you need to manage your own self. You manage your own expectation. You expect your students to be all smart, but when you come to the classroom only like 3 or 4 students are following you or something. But so I think if you will find it difficult if you cannot manage your own expectation.
So teaching, can I say that teaching is more about soft skill rather than hard skill? It is.
Well, it can be both actually.
Both.
In some ways, yeah. The same thing with newscasting. Do you think newscasting is soft skill, or it's a soft skill job or a hard skill job?
Both of them.
Both of them, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. The same thing with other kind of jobs that you know that pushes you to deal a lot with a lot of other people.
Mm. So, do you want to be seen as a lecturer or a teacher, sir? By the way.
This is interesting.
But before you continue, what are the differences between teacher and a teacher and a lecturer? By the way, sir? In your opinion, the levels. University and school.
No. In terms of meaning, yeah. Let's teach. Yeah. When you teach.
When you lecture.
When you lecture. Simple as that, actually. You know, and then somehow, when you are a lecturer, you lecture. When you are a teacher, then you teach.
And
in the beginning, a few years ago, it was as simple as that.
But now,
after, you know, and there is this higher education, there's university, high school, junior high, and everything. In Indonesia, especially, perhaps, yeah, because it is very clear in Indonesia the difference. When you are a teacher in the higher education and university, you are a docent. But in other parts of the world, in any other different levels, then you are not a docent. But in English, yeah, as a teacher, can you lecture? Yes, you can. It's part of teaching strategy. You need to lecture as well.
So, do you want to be seen as a lecturer or a teacher in Indonesia? Hey, so what is your job? Oh, I am a teacher. Oh, I am a lecturer. Which one are you?
Professionally, I have to put a word docent on my ID. On my ID, because I'm a lecturer. I'm a docent. And when I put a teacher, you know, the government will not allow it. So when you are a docent, then you are a docent. When you are a guru, you are a guru, because we are under different department. Yeah, that is one. Professionally, yes. And then for some of my friends, and to some extent I agree with them, in Indonesia, guru, it's a very big word to me. It's bigger than in Indonesian term docent.
So do you mean that teachers in Indonesia are more appreciated than lecturers? No.
I mean, in terms of meaning, the term guru, because it's Sanskrit, yeah, it means a lot. You know, it's someone who knows everything, someone who makes semi-worshipped by people of his knowledge. That is guru. Yeah. But then docent is pretty much professional term.
And so that's okay now.
I cannot answer. But
okay.
Yeah.
But if you were not a teacher now, sir, if you were not a lecturer, if you were not a teacher, what would you do now? What job would you have?
Probably
a dancer?
No, a host for face-to-face, perhaps. No. I'm just kidding. So there were like few dreams, few childhood dreams I wanted to be.
What are they?
But it kept changing. When I was in elementary school, I had this teacher who was very good at storytelling.
So you wanted to become a storyteller?
I wanted to be a storyteller or a teacher at that time. And then I met other people, you know, and then the other people are inspiring me. And then by the time I was in junior high, I listened to radio a lot. And then I wanted to become
radio
announcer. Yes, and you know, sometimes I wish I could have like double jobs in which I work 9 to 5, and then I have like a midnight
session
in the radio, you know, with the very heavy voice. Ladies and gentlemen, good night. And
my name is Irfan.
My name is Irfan. Good evening, and you are listening to this radio, and good night. I hope a nice sleep. And this is a song for a special one over there, or something like that.
So those are a few
dreams. I had a lot.
So, what would you have then? What would you do then if you were not a teacher now? Radio announcer.
Probably something to do.
Why not a football player? Because you were someone who is interested in football anyway, right?
Yeah.
Why not a football player?
Yeah. I used to play a lot when I was in college, but then I never thought of it as a job, to be honest. Even I played it a lot as a kid as well, but I never thought of it as a
Only
job.
a hobby.
Only hobby, something I do and watch. Yeah.
So can I say that you would do
Something with media as well,
so you would be a radio announcer now if you were not a teacher?
perhaps. Or
Most likely what? You need to answer
you're
this
pushing
question.
me in the corner. But something to do with media. I used to love reading comics as well when I was a child, but it didn't make me a comic maker. Yeah, perhaps something to do with media.
Something to do with media. That's the general point.
Yeah, something to do with media.
It cannot be more specific than that.
Perhaps a radio announcer.
Oh, okay, no problem.
Perhaps
And-
a radio announcer. Yes.
And we have come to the end of our show,
Yeah.
sir. I need to close the show first.
Yes.
I always remember when people say that, when you are a successful person one day, it's not to me. I mean, everybody. When you become successful people, you need to appreciate your teacher. But I think I need to probably change it a bit. Maybe not every teacher needs to be appreciated. Only a good one. Only good teachers need to be appreciated. So this is Face to Face. My name is Alessandro. Sarifan. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Desak saya, sir.
Salaman dulu nggak?